What is up, everybody? It is Friday, August 2nd, and you know what that means. It means another week of the Ghost Files. Welcome. I'm your host, Vincent DiSanti, as I am here most weeks, and here to hang out with you, film lovers, horror lovers, internet lovers. I don't know. If you like hanging out with me, that's why you're here. I see a lot of recognizable names in the chat. We'll get to you in a second. I just want to say welcome. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully we're going to have a good one this week. It's been hot in New England this week, so if I start sweating, it is because it will quickly start getting hot in here once I turn the AC off. So don't mind me. I may be a sweaty pig by the end of this thing, but you know, it's worth it to hang out with everyone this week. We got some, it's a pretty general episode this week. We don't really have anything specific to talk about. We're not tackling any specific subjects. I figured I'd throw it to the Q&A this week. Let the chat decide what we're going to talk about. I do have a few updates that I will go through. The first being, we got a few updates to the stream. If hopefully you're seeing this stream, we have a better quality video coming in. There's a new camera that I was able to purchase with some money that the channel has raised over time, which is pretty nice. You know, it's been a few bucks here in a week, but it added up, and now we actually should have actual 1080 streaming, so you should be able to see the sweat in HD. I also have to send a shout out to my good friend at the Jason Rising team, Carl Winery, for literally gifting this Shure SM7 podcasting microphone to the channel. Apparently, it was given to him in a trade for other gear. He's a musician. They're always trading gear and sending stuff back and forth. And as I was asking James about his mic, which is the exact same one, about how much he paid for it, where he got it, and all of these things to figure out how I was going to get it, Carl hit me up and was like, hey, man, I got one in my room and I don't use it. Do you want it? I'll just gift it to the channel. So thank you, Carl, for all that you do. In fact, I saw Carl a couple weeks ago at a show. He was filling in on bass, and I got to see him perform, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, so this week you should be seeing brand new stream, brand new audio, should be much clearer, louder. How am I sounding, everybody? Let me know in the comments if it sounds nice and clear, if I'm loud enough, if I have to turn up the volume or whatever. This is the first week using it, so maybe some user are coming up. All right, so a couple of announcements before I dive into the comments. Never Hike Alone 2 has a few screenings coming up. In 2 weeks in Lincoln, Rhode Island at the Dark Arts Festival at Battleground Z. Never Hike Alone will be screening at 4:30. I will be there in attendance, and I will also have a booth at the convention. So from 12 to 6 at Battleground Z in Lincoln, Rhode Island. I will be there with some merch, some leftover stuff from previous campaigns, some stuff that I ordered for this campaign that I haven't sent out yet. And if you are a backer and you are in the Lincoln, Rhode Island or Southern New England area and you have ordered stuff and you want to just pick it up directly from me and I'll cross it off the list of what I owe you, you're more than welcome to stop on by and do that. Also coming up, we have the Horror Hound Film Festival. Yes, Never Hike Alone 2 has once again made it into Horror Hound. I'm very excited about this one. I unfortunately will not be able to attend, but I am looking for someone to attend in my place. I may have a couple of people who may be interested in doing this. But either way, it's going to be screening at 10 o'clock on Friday the 13th, September 13th, which is coming up and just a little over a month away. This will be the Horror Hound that takes place in Cincinnati, Ohio. I cannot remember the name of, I think it's the Sheridan, but definitely look that up. If you don't already have your tickets, if you're already going, make sure to check out that. They're going to do some fun stuff. I was talking to the promoters, and they have some fun Friday the 13th plans for the screening. I'm going to try and record a special introduction for it. But unfortunately, I will be in Colorado, in Denver, Colorado, at the Colorado Festival of Horror. I was invited by my good friend Brett Smith to come out and attend. I will be there with not only myself, but Tom Matthews will also be in attendance, as well as the legend himself, Tom McLaughlin from Friday the 13th, Part 6. So this is going to be a great weekend for anybody in the Denver area who wants to come down and see a screening. We're going to be screening the film on Friday night. In fact, we're going to be screening The Ghost Cut and Never Hike Alone 2. We're doing like a super screening of Never Hike. So this is going to be a really fun event, I think, for anyone who wants to come out and hang out with us, ask questions, and get real insight into how we made the film, or just hang out for the convention all weekend. I'm getting there Thursday, leaving Monday morning. It's going to be a great time. I hope to see you there. I also want to give a quick shout out to my friends on the Bath Bomb team, Colin Cooper, the director of the film, as well as why am I blanking? Ronnie, as well as Ronnie, the producer, who I got to see Bath Bomb this week at Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal. Yes, I took a day trip to Montreal from Southern Massachusetts, which is about 6 hours both ways. And I got to say, it screwed me up for the entire week because that was a rough day. I got to tell you, getting old is not easy. Doing basically a 24-hour turnaround. Got up at 6, drove up there, got there at noon. Screening was at 4:20, hung out with everybody. Oh, Ronnie Exley. Now the name comes to me. ADHD has finally come back around. But Ronnie Exley, who was also, believe it or not, a producer on Longlegs. So congratulations to Ronnie for that as well. But I get to see Bath Bomb, at Fantasia Film Festival, which I've never been to before. It's in Montreal. It's one of the biggest genre film festivals in the country. It was a great screening block, lots of good films. But I got to say, Bath Bomb came out very, very good. I'm very proud of the work that Colin and his team did. Anders and Daniel, the two lead actors who act in the film, do an amazing job. I got to see a version of it before everything was laid in, but seeing it on a big screen with the final sound mix and soundtrack, it was great. Anyone who backed that, I hope that you'll be able to see it very soon if you're not seeing it at a film festival, hopefully soon. Also, my good friends in the Fragment film, which I'm a producer and also was the first AD on that, are one of our editors for Never Hike Alone, Rob Vorncall. This was his film that we filmed, I want to say in 2022. That just played in New York at the Chain Film Festival and has a few more screenings coming up as well. So congrats to my good friends over the Fragment team and everybody involved. I hope that screening was great. And I hope to catch one of those pretty soon, which would be really nice to see that on this big screen, since I haven't seen a final version of that yet either, which is, I always try to hold out till everything's kind of in there and not see it too many times. Let me see. One last little update. Oh, okay. A little update on the Never Hike Alone 2 crowdfunding campaign. I know I've been getting a lot of emails from people asking, where's my stuff? Well, your stuff is in process, still in order. I'm still waiting for the final copy of the Never Hike Alone file that will have all the fixed credits. There was also a couple of tweaks that we're making to the film in the middle of it, just some things that we wanted to fix that we didn't get to before the film actually released on YouTube. And Mike Appy, our editor, is working on that now. He's wrapped up his other work. He's been kind of chipping away at that. As soon as I get that, I can step forward with getting everything ready for submitting the Blu-rays for printing, and hopefully we'll be off and running with that. Once I get confirmation that the Blu-rays are being printed, I'm going to then step into working on Never Hike Alone, the final cut. Right now, our tentative idea, or the idea that we're actually going to go follow through on after thinking about it, is this coming Friday the 13th of September. What better way to launch a crowdfund campaign for the final cut than on Friday the 13th, and then hopefully be able to turn that around to release the film publicly on December 13th, which is another Friday the 13th. So definitely mark that in your calendars if you're interested in picking up a Blu-ray of the full cut of the movie, which will include Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow, Never Hike Alone 2 in one massive timeline. We may put Disappear in there as well. We may put a couple other pieces in. We're sort of figuring that out right now, but we'll be offering that Blu-rays and maybe a couple other things. It's going to be a much simpler campaign. We'll also be launching that on Kickstarter, so definitely check that out. Speaking of crowdfunding, those of you who backed the Gotham Noir campaign on Kickstarter, thank you so much for doing so. We obviously know that the Kickstarter didn't go through, so none of that money was awarded. So the team elected to jump over to Indiegogo. They're working on an Indiegogo campaign right now, which is active and raising money and helping them get ready for their next steps for the film. If you haven't checked that out, or if you backed Kickstarter and haven't checked out the Indiegogo, make sure to do that. Or if you didn't know about it at all, go check that out. Very proud of that film. In fact, we're having a meeting after this to talk a little bit more about it. And I think that about wraps it up for the general updates on Womp Stomp Films, other than the fact that it has been 90 friggin' degrees all week, and I am still tired from driving up to Montreal. It has lingered all week. But let's start diving into some comments, and we'll start saying hi to people. Let's see who's in the chat. Scrolling up to the top. Actually, before I do this, let's change the setting a little bit. Boom, a little bit of background change, a little bop. There we go. All right, let's go back to the comments. Lamontre's in the chat. What's up, brother? Good to see you, buddy. Alien Invasion right out the gate with a question for, please put a Never Hike Alone 3, please put out a Never Hike Alone 3 and try to track down Jarvis's girlfriend with Jason hunting them. That would be the coup de grace. I wish that Megan, Jennifer Cook, would be available to do this, but I'm telling you, it is going to be impossible to pry her out of her, uh, iced tea fortress that she's built. I think she married the guy from Lipton Iced Tea. So I don't think we're going to see her in any movies anytime soon. I know that she doesn't have any interest in horror movies or being in movies anymore. She's happy with her life and kind of moved on. If there is a way that we can sort of slip Megan into the master cut, the final cut, we'll try to find that. But until then, it's probably less likely that Jennifer Cook will become available to be in the film. I would love to reunite them. I think that was an important part of the Never Hike Alone story when I first pitched it, the Never Hike Alone 2 story to Tom, saying that we would work out this idea that Jennifer would be involved, that she was, she had left Crystal Lake. She had left all of that behind her, and Tommy couldn't leave. And so they spoke through, on the phone a couple of times, and then she was supposed to show up at the end of the film. But once Tom told me that she was not interested in being in anything, we kind of shifted gears, and you got the film that you got. But Never Hike Alone 3, if anything, would follow our good friend Hikerman 5000, who you met at the end of Never Hike Alone 2. He's played by my good friend Ryan from the Oddest of the Odd team. Ryan is an incredibly funny individual. The team that we would put together to do that would be a very interesting story. Basically, if we were ever to do Never Hike Alone 3, it would be following him, trying to follow in the footsteps of Kyle MacLeod. But the only difference that we would do from the first film, where we would be following Ryan just like we did Kyle, a singular point of view. He would have a camera. He would be go through the trail. But what would be different is that this version of Ryan would have trolls. So his trolls are other YouTubers who pick on him all the time, and they show up to crash his stream. So we would get Never Hike Alone 2. Never Hike Alone 3 would be a lot like Never Hike Alone 1, but with multiple camera angles, sort of like as above, so below. And we would see things from different perspective with characters. We would obviously jump out to the third person perspective as much as we could and only be in first person when it makes sense. But these kids would ultimately cause too much trouble at Camp Crystal Lake and then lure Jason back up. And we would see a lot of death and destruction after that. Who else comes back from the series? I won't say, but we may kind of, try to tie that all together. But most of all, we want to bring back that original feel from the original Never Hike Alone to getting into that first person sort of idea. I kind of want to, if I'm going to go back to that world, I'd like to play with that again, because there's lots of ideas for different types of setups that we can do for kills and things like that. And anyone interested in this idea, we do have the Lost Tapes or something. Ghost Jason Attacks. It's on the channel. You can check that out after the stream. It's in the Never Hike Alone category. I think all the way at the end. It was sort of it's sort of the litmus test for Never Hike Alone 3 that actually inspired me to maybe take a little bit of what we did there and expand it out into a little bit more of a concrete story versus just a bunch of POV stuff of people running around. And I will warn you, it is a vertical video film. It was actually, I got to give credit, it was directed by Cortland Gordon, who plays Mark in Never Hike in the Snow, and he appears in the film. So if you're confused why Mark is all of a sudden getting attacked by Jason twice, this was never meant to be canon. It was more meant to be like a fun sort of what if we did a vertical video POV type thing. But we want to turn that into a feature at some point. But there's original projects on the slate prior to then, which I'll bring up another day when the time is appropriate. Jumping back into the chat, Steve DMV is in the chat. What's up, Steve? Good to see you. You actually bring up a good point right here. Who saw Deadpool and Wolverine last week? Well, everybody, because the whole friggin' movie has been spoiled on Twitter and every social media account there is. I want to echo what my good friend Cody Leach said this week, where this is getting downright frustrating to the fact that it wasn't even through the weekend, and even the film's director was sharing bootleg videos of people inside the theater showing all the cameos. I know everyone who cameos in the film, and this sucks. I was actually waiting. My brother's visiting from New Orleans this week, and we were all decided, what would be fun? Saturday night, we should go out to the Rustic Drive-In up near Lincoln, Rhode Island, and go watch the film at a drive-in. That would be so much fun. We haven't done that since we were kids. Well, we've already seen the movie. We're still going to go, but what a pain in the ass. We can talk more about this later. If you guys want to talk about this more in the chat later, I definitely want to talk more about this sort of spoiler culture of people trying to get clout by sharing things from the film so they can get engagement and make money on Twitter. I think it's fucking bullshit. And honestly, I think that anyone who does it, if I was president of the United States, I would, what do they say? The executive order, my executive order for anyone who spoils things on Twitter would get sent straight to federal pound me in the ass prison for about 10 years. Like instantly, the minute you do it, there would be, the FBI would show up and it's straight off to pound in the ass land and you're done. So anyway, that's how I feel about Wolverine and Deadpool. I'm still going to see the movie. It still looks fun. I'd like to see Trap as well. I haven't seen Trap yet. I know that's coming out tonight and probably started debuting last night. I've seen some of the reactions online. I'm sure it will probably get spoiled before I see it. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. Trying to guess the twist. I think it's interesting. I've seen some stuff. No one's really said what the twist is, but I don't know if I'm correct with it. My favorite, Alley Girl, super fan. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out this week. Steve DMV wants to know what happened last Friday. You got ghosted. Yeah, I think last week, I can't remember what was going on, but it's been a busy couple of weeks. My car has actually been giving me a little bit of trouble. So I've been searching for a new car and dealing with some stuff that has to do with some projects that I'm associated with. So I've had to take meetings late. And honestly, there comes a point where, I almost did it tonight. I want to say I almost did it tonight where I was literally like, oh my God, I'm dying. I was out in the sun all day today. It was like 95, 97 degrees. Not feeling great, still feeling it from the week. But he said, you know what? I'm just going to give myself an extra half hour. I'm going to do it. So I'm here for you. I'm here for you this week. And I feel like I got a little burst of energy since we got on. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'll probably only go for like 45 minutes tonight. I got a meeting after this at 9, so I can't go too long. Steve asking all the questions. The song that you heard tonight before I jumped on was Run Like Hell by the Damn Enchiladas. That's a band that was created of me, my good friend Jake Gonzalez, and another good friend of mine, Lenny Machado. We got together to write that song for Never Hike Alone 1. That's the Trail Junkies theme song. And that's Jake on guitar. I wrote the song, but Jake plays the guitar for that because he is a master. He's way better at guitar than I am. And that's him soloing and all that stuff. Lenny does some parts, does some drums, does some bass. And we recorded that at Elm Street Studios, Lenny's studio here in Southern Massachusetts. So that's what that song is. So let's see. I'm going to start bashing through. Bashzilla is here. What's up, everybody? What's up, buddy? Olivia Singh is here. Janine Whitcomb is here. Oh, Janine, what's up? Hello to everybody. December 13th, 2024. Hopefully the final cut. Let's see. I'm going to start jumping around. Bop, bop, bop. Olivia Singh says, my friend's mom was born on Friday the 13th. And she's mean as fuck. My question is, what'd you do to her? What do kids do to her? Because maybe she wasn't born that way. I think the kids might have done it. Scrolling down. Oh, your friend has your thing on. Let me see. Hey, Undead One is in the chat. What's up, buddy? Undead One is our chat moderator. So if you have any questions, he can lead you to the right direction. And remember, if anyone wants to, get a question to the top of the chat, there are I forget what they're called. Oh, super chats. Remember, there are super chats involved. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel and all those things. And what I really like to do is just start jumping into questions here. I think I'm starting to see it. I just saw one that said question. Oh, and look who it's from. Our good friend, Deputy Adam Stout. What's up, buddy? Question. If any of us have a change of address for delivery, what is the best way to make contact? Oh my God. What a great question. This is very simple. My friends, you email me at wompstompfilms@gmail.com and I update your address in our proprietary software, which I've taken off of Indiegogo and already put there so we can ship as fast as possible. So if you need to update your address, just email me, wompstompfilms@gmail.com. I'm sure Undead will put it in the chat. And just let me know you got your address changed. I'll send you a confirmation once it's been changed. It's a very generic thing that I just copy and paste to everybody because I get a lot of them. And yeah, very, very simple. I made it so simple, you guys. You just have to email me. I'll take care of you. Bashzilla asks, I ordered the Jarvis versus Jason edition and the bundle of 4. Those will all be shipped together, right? Correct. Anything that was purchased throughout the campaign, if you made multiple purchases to save money in the long run, and since it's taken so long already, we're just waiting for everything to land, and then we're going to bundle your package so it's all in one box, and we're not risking saying, okay, we sent out the Jarvis versus Jason edition, but we totally forgot to send out the other 4. Like, we just want to make sure that before we check off someone's order, that everything is being checked off. If it's a partial order, those can become complicated. We can miss things. And then, 6 months later, I get an email saying, where's my shit? And I go, oh no, that's why I have extra of this or that. And so we do usually rectify it, but let's kill that 6 month span and let's get your updated addresses now, and we'll send everything What's a ghost do? So what last Friday? No, I did not see. I did not get to see Deadpool Wolverine. I just saw it on Twitter. Uh, Jennifer Cook was in the VTV series. Yeah, the old one, right? Boom, boom, boom. Just like Undead said, please take a second to like the channel. Kyle would have to come back for Never Hike Alone 3. I won't say anything, but he would be, I would say, good bet. There's a good bet that maybe he makes an appearance. He becomes our new Tommy, I guess you could say. Let me see this. It would have to be an HA version with Hiker Man 5000 exactly. Bash got to see Deadpool with no leaks. Well, that's good. Hey there, Vin. What's happening with chat, pals? I don't know. What is happening with chat? I don't know what that is. Allie's voting for me. Just write me in if you guys want to vote. If you guys want to vote for me for president, just write me in, and then we'll make sure no spoilers. Straight to pound me in the. I'm going to run on that. I'm going to be I'm going to run for the Justice Party based on the prosecution of spoilers. I had some cameo stuff spoiled today, and I was so bummed. Tried to watch it last weekend, but I couldn't find 2 seats together for Kate and I. I mean, at least we wait until after the second weekend. I mean, yeah. I mean, wait a little bit. I wish that there was I remember back in the day when I was on chat forums and we used to, do that. There used to be an ability that when you posted something, you could say, hey, this is a spoiler. And everybody who came into the chat would literally have to highlight everything and click on the picture to see what it was. And I feel like Twitter and social media desperately need something like that. And I would definitely do that. Who's next? Wow, this is so hard tonight. Oh, well, thank you, Miss Bunny Girl. I think you're gonna have to fight Allie though. Let's see. Hey, TSL Movie Podcast, saying hi to Davey and not me. Evening, folks. They're out there. They're out there on the across the pond, hanging out, asking filthy questions on the All the Good Names Are Taken podcast. I know it was you guys. Just kidding. Got a good question. I'm sorry. I was trying to read that name, and I'm just gonna assume that is something in another language. But the master cut of Never Hike Alone, you mentioned, what is this? This is Never Hike in the Snow, Never Hike Alone, and Never Hike Alone 2 cut into one seamless timeline. The order of which we're doing so has yet to be decided. I mean, I guess I'll give you guys a little insight behind it. I'm thinking it starts with Never Hike Alone because Never Hike Alone was the first film and it sort of introduces everybody in, and then we go backwards in time. And I think I'm going to try and come up with some type of transition that takes us back there that feels natural, because I got to say, Never Hike in the Snow and Never Hike Alone 2 work together so well seamlessly that I want to see them back to back. And if we don't end up doing that and we start it with Snow and then go chronological order, I may end up just releasing a version of Never Hike Alone 2 with Never Hike in the Snow on it, because those two things put together, I think, are like a dynamite little cut, which is basically the Never Hike Alone miniseries that I wanted to make. And that would be really, really nice. Boop, boop, boop. Going on down again. Super chat icon is at the bottom. If you want your question answered right away, it will come up and I'll see it. But if not, I got to search through and I may scroll past it. And if I haven't seen it yet, or if I scroll past your question and I asked it, just ask it again. Oh, Allie Girl's a lover, not a fighter. Well, that's good. You're on good. And she knows Taekwondo. We used to call Taekwondo take your dough the partial art, because I did Kempo. I did Kempo as a kid, and that's what my sensei would always say. He'd say, well, you guys taking Taekwondo, take your dough the partial art. Also, follow Womp Stomp Films Facebook, Indiegogo, Twitter for all updates and all things Womp Stomp Films and everything related. So, hey, Robert the Wolfman's here. And I guess, anyway, is Fatchy Cinema also here? Did I miss that? There he is. What's up, man? How you doing, Fatchy? Little paisano. Yeah, so that's all the questions I got right. Okay, wait. Janine coming in the clutch. If you got the chance to make a Friday the 13th movie and get paid, if you got the chance, would you make a Friday the 13th movie and get paid for it? Yeah. Hell yeah. I would do so many different things. I mean, one, I have a trilogy in mind for the theater that I think would be a great beginning to a much bigger idea. I think it would give fans something they've seen, something new, and something a little bit out there, which would be really, really cool, to allow them to sort of experience something that they recognize, experience something that they recognize that's a little bit more elevated, and then seeing something they've never seen before in a 3-arc span of a film. And then from there, open the door for whatever, filmmaker wants to come up next and take it and, run with it and come up with ideas for sequels if they want to do Roy or Jason Goes to Hell or whatever. But I'd really love to do that. I'd really love to bring to life my Friday the 13th animated series idea, which I talked about a little bit on Twitter today, which was an anthology series, which would allow multiple directors to come in and take a crack at Friday the 13th within a half-hour to hour sort of format, either in animated form or live action. I did say when I was pitching the film, it would be nice if we could do some live action ones too, but animated would be pretty cool. And you would just basically dive into a bunch of IP that Friday the 13th owns with different comics and books and bring some of those things to life in interesting ways, things we've never seen before, interesting theories. And every episode would be different. Every season, you could do a sequel to the previous season if that episode was popular enough and everybody wanted to see more of that idea. Like Jason X2, for example. Like Jason X2 would be a perfect animated film. And then if you did Jason X3, 4, and 5, and every season you got a Jason X installment in animation, I think that would be really rad. I think Jason X is born for animation. It really does kind of lend itself to those strengths of that. So yeah, real quick, Undead. Thank you so much. $10 for the super chat. Leading the way, leading by example. Miss Bunny's all over tonight. What did you like about the Friday the 13th remake? What did I like about it? I liked that they cast Derek Mears. I liked some of the opening. I liked the axe throw kill. Aside from that, I felt like it was retreading things we had already seen and not really doing anything new. Everything that it added, I thought, took away from the overall aesthetic of Friday the 13th, and they did nothing to solve the logic and continuity issues with the series about what happened to Jason and where did he go? Is he undead, dead? What is going on? Like, just basically breezed all over that for the lukewarm, just, I don't know. They just tried too hard to make it very mediocre, and I wish they would have tried something a little bit more. But that's them, And since then, we haven't had a new movie, so it's had to carry the torch for all these years, which, I think, it's found its fan base, and people love it for what it is. But it would be nice if we got a follow-up that expanded on that idea and made it better and gave better opportunities to tell better stories. That would have been nice, but we never got that. We had to wait for a couple of idiots to run into the woods and make fan films for us to get more Friday the 13th material. Let me see. Boop. Let's see. What's this? I hear a poster is being made for the Ghost Files Live. I do a lot of editing for the IMDb page. You know what? I did say I was going to help somebody with that. I overwork myself so much. I do remember saying somebody wanted to help me out with the Ghost Files Live poster, and I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was you, Steve. It might have been you. But yeah, we kind of need like an official poster. I've been doing some art, and really, honestly, like I wanted to do a nicer thumbnail for this week, but I am so I was like, I have maybe like a half hour to get all this done and get it all up and running, and kind of go from there. Let me see, Steven, based off the Jason X sequel books, you could if you wanted. Like, I think the smartest thing to do, like a lot of TV shows do, we would look at the materials, like the comics, like, Bloodbath, How I Spent My Summer Vacation, the Jason X, Carnival of Souls, all those books. And I think that what would be interesting would be to dive into those books and really pull out the kernels of things that work and just trash everything that doesn't work and let better writers tackle those ideas and expand them upon for, an hour-long content format and figure out what's good. Like Jason versus Leatherface, like Pamela's Tale, two comics that are really well drawn and really cool looking and have a lot of good stuff. The stories go absolutely nowhere in between, and they're bad. Like the storytelling in the comics is awful. I'm sorry, but it just is. And it would need to, it would need a come up. But I mean, that's the point, is that you're bringing in some of the brightest minds from a film aspect to rewrite these stories and make them palpable for an audience that has to watch it on an HBO streaming channel, or, because that's where WB lives. So yeah, that's what I'm sort of thinking about it. I love this. That's so great that you're able to do Jason X squared. Just makes me think of like 2-3 Jasons out there. That'd be kind of great. I'm going to call you DJ. DJ asked, if Never Hike Alone 3 is made, will Tommy come back? It is, yeah, I mean, he could come back. I just need to figure out what makes sense. Because at the same time, Tommy sort of found his ending at the end of Never Hike Alone 2. So it's tough to undo that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to Logan him. This isn't Deadpool Wolverine. We're not going to give him his Logan ending and then pull him back, arbitrarily to say like, I said I was past it, but I'm really not. I feel like this is a torch that should be passed to Andrew. But there's definitely ways for Tommy to get involved. And I'll think of clever ways to do that. Do you think a sequel to the remake would have made the ending a dream? Actually, no. The ending was actually solidified in the opening that Shannon and Swift wrote in their draft, which they've never released fully, but they released the opening. They released the opening pages, and in those pages, Clay and Whitney float up to a frozen crystal lake. They see the bodies through the lake, and then the people on ice skates go away, and then Jason tracks them down on the ice and kills them. So that was not a dream. That actually happened. So how Jason survived that attack, how they were able to carry him down, why they would carry him down, throw him in the water in the first place, makes no fucking sense. But hey, that's just not my movie and not my logic. So I won't question it anymore. It makes me a bad person to question bad writing, but whatever. Let me see. Robert the Wolfman, I need a Womp Stomp Skinwalker cryptid film. Let's get dark and grotesque. You know who would be really great? My good friend Carl Winnery. Loves the Wendigo, loves that Skinwalker cryptid stuff. We're big fans of, Until Dawn, which is getting a movie, which is really, really cool. So I would love to do that. I think that if the right concept came along, if someone had written a script that, was solid and could be made, I'd look into it. We definitely have the power to find the effects people to make some really cool stuff. While I'm noticing, before I jump to another comment, I just want to say shout out to PBD Horror. Last week, Mo and I got to go see Killer Clowns from Outer Space at the Buttonwood Brewery in Providence, Rhode Island. This is a custom poster. Let me see. What was the name of the artist? I cannot remember. I feel bad because it was very quick, but this is a great poster. It was made just for the event. I had to get it. I got to put it in one of these 11 by 17 frames. Definitely going to happen. Anyway, let's go to a comment or a compliment. Thanks for the $5 for having my hair on fleek tonight. Pretty soon it's going to get flat because I'm sweating my ass off over here, but it is what it is. And the hair's getting pretty long. I'm just letting it go. I haven't had a haircut in, I want to say 6 months, something like that. What is it? August? Yeah, I think my last haircut was March. Something in there, but I'm just letting it go. I'm said, fuck it. The last time my hair got this long, I ended up going, you know what? It's getting real hot and I can't maintain it. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to cut it short and do what I usually do. And as soon as I cut it, I regretted it. Plus, I've been making the mistake of not going to hair stylist, but going to like a barber shop and being like, yeah, just take a little bit off the back and trim my beard. And like every time they want to like shave a fade in my head and put in like a chin strap. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so I got to stop making that mistake and actually go to someone who knows what they're doing with hair. Because if I don't control this thing, it's going to get wieldy. Yes, my beard is thicker than normal too. We're commenting on all that stuff, but yeah, I'm letting the beard go a little bit, letting it get thick. Mostly because I've been losing weight. For those of you who follow my personal page on Instagram, the Vincent DiSanti one, a couple of years ago, I posted about running every day and doing all this stuff. And so I've actually just been able, I would say a month and a half ago, I was able to get back on that routine. And it's been going really well. I've actually been adding weightlifting to that because I've been trying to bulk up for, future roles and things like that. And just trying to get in better shape because Never Hike Alone 2 destroyed my body. Like my mental health, my physical health. I was eating poorly. I just wasn't in a great situation to be like doing all the right things, and got into bad habits, and sort of all that work I did while I was running, I sort of gained all that weight back. And this year I've been sort of focusing on relosing it. So that means that I can grow a thicker beard without my head looking like a giant pumpkin, which is really nice. And Allie thinks the beard is epic, which is really, really nice. Oh, Zach has a question. To see a campfire horror story that kids tell each other to scare one another is really cool idea I've been working on with somebody. Have you ever seen The Midnight Society? Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was a great story. I don't know how old you are, Zachary, but if you don't know about Are You Afraid of the Dark, I would highly suggest seeking out those episodes. That was one of the not films, but TV shows that I watched as a kid. I gotta say, I used to couldn't wait to stay up on, I think it was Saturday night, Snick, right? Snick Saturday night. The intro was always super creepy. It reminded me of Tales from the Crypt. The kids always had good stories. There's some really, really scary films in there, or short films in there. I would love to see like a reprise of that or someone else's idea of that. I think that would be really, really cool. So that's a good idea. This is very true. Boop. Donating helps make all the Womp Stomp movies. This is true, but I am in the process of trying to get legitimate funding for a couple of projects. I can't go too deep into them, but one thing is moving along fairly well, and I think I'll be able to maybe package some things with it. Another thing that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago is slowly dying and turning into something else, and so I got to kind of wait for that to come around. But that's show business, baby. And in the meantime, I was able to finish the script for, I think I've talked about this before, but there's a script that I'm attached to called Cold Blooded. I did a rewrite on it. Just handed that in, which went really, really well. My manager and the other two writers who wrote it, Eric and Sean, which is really cool. It's a lot like a Friday the 13th movie, but it's told from the perspective of a police officer who's first on scene. So imagine it's Friday the 13th part 4. And you know how the film opens and we see the whole cavalry is there and they're pulling the bodies out. Well, imagine you were the first person on scene and the killer was still out there. So you're discovering the bodies along the way, but then you realize that whoever's leaving the wet stuff is still leaving wet stuff, and they get mixed into a slasher film midway through this kind of criminal investigation that's continuous. It's not like Long Legs that takes multiple weeks to solve. This is something that all happens in real time. Involves a couple of deputies and trying to figure it out. And it's a really cool script. It's set in the snow. And in fact, it was Never Hike in the Snow that urged these filmmakers to contact me to take a crack and sort of lead this in the way. And I've been working on this thing for a couple of years, and lots of stuff got in the way, the strike, COVID, and all these other things. I'm very happy that that's making progress, and hopefully we'll be able to go out to financiers soon and see if we can get it funded. But that's how it happens when we're not crowdfunding. We actually have to go to investors and pitch and show budgets and all those things. So a lot of the things I've been working on in the last few weeks have been those things, building budgets and doing this, not only for my project, but projects that I'm going to be producing and putting out there, which I can talk more about as they kind of come on down the line. Bam, let's see. Boop, boop, boop. I'm just going through these comments. Everyone's commenting on Killer Clowns. I won't pull up every comment, but Killer Clowns is probably one of my favorite movies. In fact, I played high school football, and I wasn't your typical jock. I was a nerd jock who loved movies and always quoted movies and was acting out on the field and stuff like that. It was decent, but the night before, every every high school has the Thanksgiving Day rival game. And one thing that we try to do as a team every year was get everybody in one place so no one's going out and partying the night before and kind of risking themselves for the game. So we all went to my house, and I made the whole team watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space on VHS. So that was definitely that film will always have a special place in my heart. Oh, Adam Stout has a super chat. For keeping yourself healthy and encouraging others. Also, mullet lamp. Ooh, mullet lamp. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I do need them. I need another light that just hits the mullet in the back. It's not really mullet. It's all long, but I'm definitely not going to shave the sides. Don't make me shave the sides. Let me see. I got to scroll back up a little bit. Steve. Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you. That's such a great thing. I also love it's you're not going to make a puppet out of me, which is really good. I mean, that guy acts so hard in that movie. It's so good. Let's see. Devin's got a cool thing here. Fantasy idea. Jason goes into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe and drinks the mutant gin and becomes Super Jason, like a Super Shredder variant. I would love to see that. Let me tell you something, Devin. That's a brilliant idea. And in fact, New Line owns the rights to both those entities. So that would be something I would have put on the board and been like, can we get these rights? Can we do a crossover? And that's what the Friday the 13th animated series would have been about. It would have been about throwing Jason into as many situations as we can and just seeing what catches. You get 8 episodes every year. If half of them are good, fans are going to love it. If half of them suck, we can make fun of them and move on to the next year and replace those ideas with better ideas or different ideas. Like a young Kane Hodder with a beard. Kane always had a beard. I don't think I've ever seen Kane without a beard, right? Maybe. I mean, I know he's got the beard, and in fact, he's got the mullet and the beard in Jason Goes to Hell. Is there the is the werewolf project you mentioned before still planned? Yes, I need to finish writing that. I actually had to pause writing on what's called The Bonding, and I had to stop to do rewrites on Cold Blooded, which took me a couple of months. That script is so intricate. I mean, you move something in one scene and the entire case falls apart. You know what I mean? With the evidence that kind of gets picked up along the way. So it took me a while to rewrite that in between doing everything else. And so actually one of the things I'm looking forward to now is now that that's handed in and my writing time is sort of open now to start writing again, I'm going to jump back into The Bonding. I'm about halfway through and the rest of it's outlined. I just got to kind of fill in the scenes as I go. And I got to say, sometimes and this is just Q&A for writers out there, filmmakers, sometimes it's okay to step away from something. I feel like I got to a place where I was writing well, but I was also trying to think about a few ideas, stepping away from it and working on something else and now coming back to it. When I've revisited some of those ideas, a couple new ideas popped in my head, a couple of ways to kind of approach things, some solutions kind of came along that I jotted down along the way. So, taking time off from something isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I'm looking forward to finishing that script pretty soon. But there's 2 right now that are on my radar to get done and going there. What do you think about them announcing In a Violent Nature 2, or was that a rumor? That is official. I believe IFC and Shudder announced that. And all I will say is I hope next time they get a real Steadicam, because a real Steadicam and better equipment and that film is going to get better. I think it's cool. I think it's great I think Johnny has a legitimate backstory. I think that they can expand upon it in a way that Friday the 13th should be doing right now, but isn't. So they're filling that void. And I wish the best for them. I hope Lauren gets to come back and do a couple more things. I think that would be pretty cool. Okay. I'm just going to give everybody a warning. It's 8:44-ish. I'm probably going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to start trying to rapid fire through these questions and see how many I can get through. Davey's right. Are You Afraid of the Dark and Tales from the Crypt are great. And Davey's going to be doing a series of watching Tales from the Crypt. And I may join him for an episode of Television Terror, which is my favorite Tales from the Crypt episode of all time, with Morton Downey Jr. playing a sleazy TV host, a lot like Geraldo Rivera. And he sort of does the Capone's Vault thing with a haunted house. It's sort of like Capone's Vault meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And if you don't know what Capone's Vault is, look it up on Wikipedia. No, back in the day, Geraldo Rivera did this big thing where he went into one of Al Capone's famous mansions, and there was this giant vault that had never been opened before. And so the whole broadcast, which was live, everyone was tuning in to see what's in Al Capone's vault, and they opened it up and there was jack shit in there. And so it was a big letdown, and it sort of was made fun of. And Television Terror was a ripoff of Capone's vault. Just so you know what that is. Speaking of Are You Afraid of the Dark, do you think someone should make a horror movie about ghost pirates? Yeah, isn't it called The Fog? Ghost Pirate, but I mean, hey, Ghost Ship, The Fog, Ghost Pirates in general. I think, what is it? Pirates of the Caribbean had a lot of ghost pirates too. But I think a low budget, indie ghost pirate movie, that would be an interesting take, because I think that's some cool zombie-ish makeup. You get to do some cool VFX that won't be too crazy. You got a seaside thing, or you get it on a ship. I think that's fun. I think that's a good time. Oh my God, exactly. Who remembers Zeebo the Clown? Wait, Zeebo the Clown? Yeah, that one was so scary with the cigar. That episode freaked the shit out of me. I remember the Zeebo the Clown. I was also thinking of Zeke the Plumber from Salute Your Shorts. So I'm really dating myself now. But Zeke the Plumber from Salute Your Shorts is the other horror movie that needs to be made at a Blumhouse level, $5 million Zeke the Plumber. Maybe they'll hire me to direct it if that remember at this point. But that's a great call there, Sam Heights. Zeebo is Definitely great. Great question, Miss Money. How do you pitch a project to investors? Well, first you have to find representation. Usually you write a script that goes into a competition that gets noticed, wins, and all those things. And that usually opens the doors for people to reach out to you. So I made Never Hike Alone. I actually got a manager. My manager is Gavin Dorman from Schemers Entertainment. And Gavin, over the years, has set me up with different meetings with different producers and investors. And so when I need to present something to somebody, I go through there. There's also state film commissions, which take pitches and give grants. You just need to sort of know where to look. But you need to have a script, a pitch deck to show what the film is going to look like, and an overall idea about how you're going to make it, and then a budget that shows you, why you're asking for the money, where the money's going, and how it's going to be spent, which takes a lot of time to put together. I know the cold-blooded pitch deck took a while. I actually had 2 previous versions of it, then scrapped the whole thing and finally came up with something great. Highly recommend a little software called Shot Deck. Shot Deck is a great place for filmmakers to go and look up for nice high resolution frames from other films. So when you build a pitch deck, you're usually taking frames from other films that match the aesthetic of what you want to do, and you pair them up and kind of craft them in a way that creates your own story with it. There's also another website called film.ai, which does a very similar thing. Both of them are subscription based, so you do have to pay a subscription to have access to it, but it's really nice not having to go download film, screen cap, and do it all your own. It's already been done for you. And just about any film you can think of is on these platforms, and it's super helpful if you're an aspiring filmmaker. I definitely see, and even if you're not making a pitch deck, even if you're just getting an idea for a film and you need some inspiration, Shot Deck and Film AI are great resources for filmmakers to use. Jumping down. Boop, boop, boop. Could you see Kane Hodder play back Blackbeard? I could see him play back. I could see Kane Hodder play anybody. He can play anybody he wants. He's earned the right to, right? But yeah, that'd be fun. You could get, and Kane's been doing a lot of mocap work lately too. So I think that if you did it CG, you could do some stuff. But if you put him in the costume, I think that would work too. Yeah. I think that would definitely go. All right, Adam's got another question. How would you make a Friday the 13th if it was under CW Network and offered to you? Honestly, the first feature idea that I have for the Friday the 13th sort of trilogy that I have, for the films, the basis of the first film's idea could be expanded out into a series that I think would fit well for the CW network. I would do a lot of what Brian Fuller was doing, where we jump in the past. We do a lot with Pamela, see how that all came to be, what happened to Jason, all that stuff, and kind of following it through. You'd have to tell it through the eyes of teens, which I don't think would be necessarily all that hard. Obviously there are, groups of people. Here's a way to do it. I know how to do it. Every season, you start off with a new group of teens. And instead of it being a movie, you go through an entire season with these teens who are going to somehow become intertwined in Jason's story. And they will all get killed throughout the season. And then you move on to the next season. And maybe there's a final girl that comes back to next season, or a final guy that comes back to next season and goes. But I think every year it should reset, and it should tell different. It's almost like American Horror Stories in a way, but it probably just wouldn't be as hardcore because it's on CW. But I think that would be a way to do it, because obviously they're going for the young teen audience. So you would want Gen Zers, tweens on TikTok, dancing around fucking Camp Crystal Lake. But I think that would be a good way to approach it. It would be really, really cool. Let's go all the way down to the bottom. What do you think about the film My Soul to Take? I'm sorry, Zach, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen My Soul to Take, but I'll put it on the list. Write it down. Soul to Take. Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. I'll definitely check that out. Where's it streaming? I'll find it. Boom. Max has got a question. Where did the idea of Ghost Jason getting the curse to come back to Never Hike Alone 3? I mean, the curse was born in the early movies, and we'd sort of, I don't know if we'd really explain, we'd really sort of explain how the curse brings him back for 3, but we would show you visually, just sort of what disturbs him and why he comes back. I got a really cool idea for how that, but that would just spoil it. I don't think anyone would pay Vincent $100 million like RDJ to get to play Doctor Doom in the next 2 Avengers movies. That must be something else. But can you believe that? Let's talk about that real quick. I think that's the dumbest idea in the world. Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play Doctor Doom. Everybody wanted to see an original Doctor Doom, and we're not going to get it. We're going to get Iron Man 2.0, Evil Iron Man Victor. And I read today that they're going to put Tom Cruise in the Iron Man suit as an alternate variant, which Tom Cruise was an alternate variant of Spider-Man in the recent animated movies that came out with Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse. There was a version where Tom Cruise was supposed to be Spider-Man in one world, and that didn't end up going through. So they're just recycling ideas at this point. Oh, that's right. That's right. It is. That's okay. It sounded familiar, but I hadn't seen it. And I think I turned it on the other day. That's why it sounds so familiar. Are you in my head? I literally think I turned it on the other day, but I was just too tired to watch it. I ended up falling asleep within the first 5 minutes. But no. It wasn't that. I was watching They. That's what it was. I turned on They, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I ever gave They a chance. Let me see what happens. I ended up passing out because it's just been a long ass week. Okay, let's see. Could you post NHA series on Tubi? I don't think so, because they can't make money off of it. In fact, I had an issue with the channel. So it's sort of like an internal self-inflicted wound. I got maybe another 5 minutes here. Oh, another announcement. Never Hike Alone soundtracks are on Spotify. So Ryan Perez Dapple, my wonderful composer, was able to work with his record company, and they put the Never Hike Alone series on Spotify, so you can listen to, I believe at least right now, Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow on Spotify. He did something on YouTube like I did as well. But that ended up giving me a copyright infringement on my own music. So I ended up getting copywritten by YouTube, and then YouTube monetized all my Never Hike Alone videos. And so I've been appealing them, and I'm waiting for the appeals to come through. And once the appeals answer, I got to pull the ads back off it. But I've been so pissed off about that. That was a real bummer. So yeah, that definitely was a pain in my ass. 5 minutes and 23 more hours. Yeah, I don't know if I can do that. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, just like Steve said, they can't do it. I got to keep it for free for everybody. Boom. So, this is right at that time. This is exactly what I wanted to do. A nice hot hour. I think this was a pretty good one. Thank you everybody who donated to the stream tonight. This was a pretty good stream. You guys did great. Shout out to Undead, Alley Girl, Adam Stout, and Zach. Thank you for the super chats. Again, if you're not liked and subscribed, make sure you're liked and subscribed to the Womp Stomp Films YouTube channel, our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter, or we're on TikTok, but I don't use it much. Maybe I'll do it one day. Real quick, I'm a huge Beetlejuice fan. I can't tell you how many times I rewound when he kicks the tree and says, "Nice model," and squeezes his balls, and it makes that honk sound. I died. I died as a kid. I rewound that so many times it wasn't even funny. Is it possible to give Never Hike Alone a limited theatrical screening? That's what film festivals are for. So I've just been submitting to festivals all over the country and world, France, Canada, England, trying to get them. If you want me to put it in a film festival near you, you can email me at wompstompfilms. I will submit the film. We can see if we can get it in. That's another good thing. I should figure that out, huh? So yeah, so back to wrapping this up. So I just want to say thank you everybody for stopping in tonight. I'll probably be back next week. I don't think I have anything on the schedule. I will try to come up with something a little bit better. Maybe we'll talk a little Deadpool Wolverine really late, or maybe some Trap. Maybe I'll talk about My Soul to Take. Maybe I have a little homework to do, and all that stuff. But again, thank you guys so much for supporting the stream. I really do appreciate it. It really does help. I mean, look, it's already equated to having a better camera. You can actually see me now. And in fact, I can do things like, check this out before I go. Boop, hang on. Pew, pew, pew. I got controls and everything. It's fucking great. Anyway, before I break this thing, everyone have a safe and happy weekend. I will see you next week. And until next time, I will see you all on the trails. Have a great weekend, everybody. Vinny out.